On average, nearly 20 people per minute are physically abused by an intimate partner in the United States. In 1 year, that equates to nearly 10 million men and women. According to the National Coalition Against domestic violence is the willful intimidation, physical assault, battery, sexual assault, and/or other abusive behavior as part of a systemic pattern of power and control perpetuated by one intimate partner against another. Domestic violence can result in physical injury, psychological trauma, and/or, in severe cases, death. Domestic violence is an ongoing epidemic affecting people in every community, regardless of age, economic status, sexual orientation, gender, race, religion, or nationality. Because of this epidemic, cities across the United States have established nonprofit organizations. We have all heard the term nonprofit. What does it mean exactly? When I hear the term nonprofit, I think of organizations that are making a difference in the community, which is exactly what they do. Because nonprofits are deemed as public charities and are formed to provide public benefit, they are tax exempt under the Internal Revenue Code Section 501(c)(3). How do nonprofits make money to even be charitable to the community? First of all, by definition, nonprofit corporations exist not to make money, but to fulfill one of the purposes recognized by federal law. These purposes are charity, education, science, and literacy. As long as the nonprofit falls into one of these categories, it is deemed tax exempt. It can take in more money than it spends to conduct its activities. How do nonprofits make money? Nonprofits make most of their money by fundraising efforts from the general public, government, and private foundations. According to Giving USA, the total number of charitable giving in the U.S. reaches $410.02 billion in 2017. Of that amount, 71% came from individuals. The rest came from the government and foundation groups and corporate philanthropy. From these numbers, you can see how important it is for members of community to give back to nonprofit organizations. I am now going to tell you a story, a little bit about me and the nonprofit organization that saved my life. I was a victim of domestic violence. I was physically, emotionally, sexually, and mentally abused while in an intimate relationship. Unfortunately for me, my abuser was very good at what he did. Our relation started out great. He was very charming, everyone seemed to like him, and I actually thought the relationship was too good to be true. Over time, my abuser isolated me from my family and friends. I was skipping class and missing work because of my home life. At the time, I was going to counseling on and off for some other issues in my life. I thought I was hiding the abuse that was going on in my home and in my relationship. Until one day, my counselor gave me a pamphlet for the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center in Idaho Falls. The Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center in Idaho Falls is a nonprofit organization that provides assistance to victims that suffer the effects of domestic violence, sexual assault, and other violent crimes. According to their Facebook page, the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center's mission is to help society overcome the stigma associated with domestic violence and sexual assault. They want to help educate, rehabilitate, and support victims of all violent crimes. They offer free services such as individual counseling, support groups, education-based classes, court advocacy, civil protection order assistance in filing compensation claims, criminal advocacy, and 24-hour crisis services. In order to offer these services to victims, the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center uses fundraising efforts from the community. If you're from the Idaho Falls area, you might be aware and know of some of their annual fundraisers that they do. Leathers and Blings is a paid motorcycle ride, run, and social. Walk a Mile in Her Shoes is a paid walk where male members of the community walk a mile in high heels. Leathers and Bling is coming up June 22nd, and Walk a Mile is in September. I encourage you to participate in these events or just to donate if you can't participate. I encourage you to keep the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center in the back of your mind when trying to come up with fundraisers for school, work, or church. Nonprofits like the Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Center are essential in changing communities. Education, rehabilitation, and support will prevent these crimes from being recognized as a general part of society, but rather a crime that can be prevented by society. If you or someone you know is a victim of domestic violence, please seek help. If you are in immediate danger, call 911. If the Idaho Falls Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault 24-hour crisis line is 208-235-2412. Together, as a community, we can change the way violent crimes are tolerated and viewed. Thank you.